Hi, my name is Staci Neustadt. I'm a speech language pathologist and CEO at Making Sense of Autism. I have with us Susan Golubock, our founder, and she's an autistic retired occupational therapist. And I often ask her questions that are either areas where I struggle as a therapist, or I hear other therapists, or I hear parents. And a big one I have heard all the time, but more frequently, is that word no. Now, I know in my experience with some of my clients is I used to work on like almost putting out the fires. Like a kid would be told no, and then you're dealing with the behavior. But now with this mindset shift, I've learned on how can I prevent those things so I don't, so my parents and my therapists don't even have to say no. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sue, but the number one thing that I have learned is that if things are predictable and someone knows what's going to come, or the rules are very concrete and they don't change from one day to the next, that no doesn't have to always, it doesn't have to happen because someone knows exactly how things are supposed to happen. So from your perspective, share with us what is happening when an autistic individual is told no, what's going on with their brain so we understand, and then what are some other things that we can do to get ahead of the game, not, prevent that
Mhm.
frustration.
Okay, that's a great question. Um, Again, the autistic brain tends to think it, very concretely and to the extremes of our options are yes or no. Yes means we're going to do what I expect is supposed to be happening, what you promised you were going to do, or whatever it is I really think I need. Um, all of those are wanting a yes answer. And then you come up with a no. No meaning quite the opposite. I mean, there are no other choices. That's how we interpret it. If it's not a yes and you're saying no, that's the end of it. And most of the time, that's what people do. They say no and they don't offer choices to let us know, but you have these options. I can't do this right now, or not that fast, or give us a reason for why you're saying no, and what are our options. What could we do instead? Because again, our brain can't make connections fast enough to realize that there are options. If we thought about it long enough, we would probably figure out. Whenever someone would ask me if I want something, as a kid, my automatic reaction would be no, because I couldn't process fast enough. If I want it, what if I say I want it and then they're expecting me to eat it or do it and I can't? So the safer bet is just say no. But it's that in between, there are always choices and options. And this is where the best response you can give rather than no would be, well, let's think about it. Um, I can't do this for this reason, but we could. Here's your choices. What do you think we should do instead? Now you're opening it up to us to realize number one, as soon as you say, I have choices, that brings me back up. I'm not going to melt down because I'm not focused on the no. Yes, you said you can't give me what I want or need at that time, but you quickly said, but here's other choices that maybe this would work to meet your need or what you want. Oh, okay. I can shift to that. But again, I won't know what they are if you don't tell me because I can't think fast enough. So if you will sit down there and problem solve with me, I won't have a meltdown.
Love that. So problem solving, giving those choices. And you mentioned meeting that need. So how does somebody know if, um, so, say a child says, I want to go jump on the trampoline, or they want, they non-verbally are expressing they want to go jump on the trampoline, but it's time to get ready for school. So the answer is no, you can't jump on the trampoline. It's time to get ready for school. How do we know if that dysregulation that occurs with that no is because it's a need that's not being met of needing to jump on the trampoline versus just, I want to
I
jump on
want.
that. Yeah. How do you know the
Yeah, and
difference?
I've had to explain this to my autistic kids, versus you can't always get what you want, but if it's something you need, let's find a way. And the reality in the world is, no, you can't always have everything you want when you want it in the way that you want it. But there's a difference between a want and a need. And oftentimes, autistics have never been explained in concrete terms what that difference is,
Mhm.
because they think of wants as needs. And so to explain to them that a need is something that if you don't have it right now, something bad's going to happen. You're gonna you're hungry. And if you can't, you're not going to be able to continue to function. If you're so tired, I need to sleep. If you don't sleep, you're going to feel bad. Um, versus a want is something, if you don't get it, yeah, you'll be unhappy, but nothing bad's going to happen. See, we understand good and bad. Those are
Mhm.
polar opposites. So if you put it in terms of you're going to feel bad versus, yeah, you won't feel good, but you're also not going to feel bad.
Mhm.
To understand in a concrete term a want versus a need, so that they can be able to say, but I need it. And then you're going to have to go into the alternative. Well, how can I meet that need when I can't do it the way you want me to, or in the time frame you need me to do it? Let's problem solve. So you want to make sure it is a need versus just a want that they can postpone. Wants can always be postponed. So in the first place, you can offer them, I know, let's schedule a time so that you get what you want.
Mhm.
It can't be right now because of this or this or this, but and if they agree to it, then it's just a want. If they can delay it, it's a want. If they can't and they're just no, 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 and they're not willing to, then it's a need. And you're going to have to figure out how to meet that need right then and there in a way that you can meet that need, or as soon as possible, to meet a need. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And I love that. And you're right, I do see that where that want versus need, even versus like want versus like reality of what I've done. Like my kids will say, I went to Disneyland, but really it's I want to go to Disneyland. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that concrete way we can explain it. So many awesome tools. So if in our minds an answer is no to something, we have to give choices. And this is a strategy that's kind of been around for a while, but I don't think enough people grasp it of no, you can't have a cookie, but you can have an apple or a banana. And
Mm-hmm.
all parents need to adapt that strategy of no, you can't have this, but here's some other choices. And I love that consistent terminology. So parents, therapists use consistent terminology. No, you can have that, but your choices are, and I love using that term, your choices. Um, and then
And just
all
make sure, if you offer choices, never offer one that you're not willing to deliver.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then also kind of even back to that predictability of if it's a want and you can't have that want right now, let's put it on the schedule so it's predictable. You'll know when you're going to get this. And
Mm-hmm.
going back
Mm-hmm.
to that whole idea of schedule and predictability and consistency, which actually ends up building that flexibility because they trust that that's going to happen later. So, so much great information on that little triggering word no. And I think if people start implementing these strategies, it's one of those things where you will see instant success because they will be like, whoa, you're not just saying no, you're giving me choices. You're not just saying no, you're putting on a schedule for me. And so that builds that safety that their needs are getting met and that they're heard.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
awesome. Love it, Sue. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, for asking.